Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to this special trend report. How is everyone doing today? Are we good? Are we in a good mood? I see New York here, Canada is here, Portugal is here, Florida is here. Who else is here? New York is here. Hi, Larry. Happy to see you. Texas is here. Welcome, everyone, and put in the chat where are you joining us from. It's a global community. It's a very professionally diverse community. Jarmo is here from Cleveland, from Finland, and Pamela from Cleveland. Syracuse, France is here. Welcome, everyone, and excited to have you at this trend report. This is a tradition that we do a couple of times a year. It's a combination of a post-lab catch-up session for those who were not there for the lab, who missed half of the lab. And it's also a chance for us to share the latest research. I'll show the data from our own Global Reinvention Survey from the PwC CEO report for 2023 and the latest 2023 Coursera report on the skill. This will be some of the data we'll share today so that you can see what's going on in the world and how that impacts your life. It's another minute before we start, so can you put in the chat the number one question you have coming into this session? You're very busy people, but you came in for some reason. You decided to put in and invest this time in this session. I want to know what brings you here, what are you hoping to get? And my job is to give you the latest data and share all kinds of opportunities that come from that data. And of course, those of you who are interested in working with me, we will make sure we will add that as well at then. So trends is Jarmo's number one request. Emerging trends is what Cindy wants to hear. Good. I will actually have research today from 2023 CEO survey by PricewaterhouseCoopers. And they confirmed the trend that I spotted exactly 8 years ago. We published a report 8 years ago that finally got confirmed by CEOs 8 years later. So the trends we will notice today may show up fully in a non-debatable way 8 years later, but I'm happy to call them so early so you can turn those trends into opportunities early. And that is the absolute goal for this session, is to give you the insight and the data that is at the early stages so that you know how to adapt and turn it into opportunity for yourself. So we are at 12. We'll go super fast today. I have slides so that we can pack as much as possible into this hour. So unlike our other sessions that are much more interactive and easygoing, and I have paper and I draw, today that's not that kind of session. We have to pack mass amount of data and value into this 1 hour. So we will go super fast. And I do ask you to participate super actively in the chat, as well as this is going to be interactive. Are we ready for 2023 trend report? Can you give me a yes in the chat that you are ready? Great, excellent. Then let's get going with the 2023 trend report. So my plan is to share 3 key insights in thriving in turbulence, especially this year, especially at this volatile and uncertain times. And until recently, most people assume that I'm talking about COVID or post-COVID reality, then that I'm talking about the disruptions that are happening because of weather and other things. Then later last year, we were looking at massive changes in tech industry. This is just few months, 6 months of data from all the layoffs that were happening in the tech industry. For the longest time, tech industry and the jobs in tech industry were considered to be untouchable, completely safe, unbreakable. If you have a job in this area, you're guaranteed a job for life. November, we had 59,000 layoffs. October, we had 23,000 layoffs and so on and so forth. And of course, today and last week, everyone thinks that I'm talking about the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank, one of the most untouchable and unbreakable darlings of the Silicon Valley. The reality is that each of those things, whether we're talking about technical and technological disruptions, such as ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, whether we're talking about health and social disruption, whether we're talking about economic disruption, whether we're talking about climate disruption, all of them are a sign of a deeper transformation that our human civilization and our global economy is going through. And I want you to understand that it's not about the specific thing. It's not about one symptom. It's about the root cause. So my job today is to share with you the central protection mechanism, not how can you prevent yourself from one or another disruptions. How do I protect myself from banks collapsing? How do I prepare for the next pandemic? How do I notice the next artificial intelligence trend? I want you to stop chasing the symptoms and start understanding the root cause. And my goal is to make sure that we show you how to future-proof your career and your organization. And if you're a consultant, coach, and trainer, then your client's organization in this crazy, unpredictable, turbulent, competitive environment. And by the end of the session, I want to leave you with very specific ideas of what you can do to protect yourself, but also how you can borrow ideas from other specific cases, specific answers. That's the goal for this session. And before we even get there, I want to make sure you have one reinvention hack right now, a specific tool that is a darling of our community. We shared it on day 4 of the Easy Reinvention Lab last week. If you missed it, this is a chance to grab this very simple tool. It's called the Impact Readiness Matrix, and it's been a darling of our community. And before we even jump into trends, I want to make sure that all the many ideas that you have after this session, and every post-it note and every insight that you get from this session, you know what to do with that. So have you ever been at an amazing creative session where you got tons of insights and tons of ideas, and at the end of a session, you just have a wall of ideas, but no clarity of what to do with those ideas? Has this happened to you? That the ideas were great, but the movement did not happen? I see 100% that happened to you. Put in the chat if it happened to you, that you had tons of insights. You came to a session like this, or maybe you had a brainstorming session and a whole bunch of ideas, but no progress at the end of those sessions. I see a lot of pluses and a lot of confirmations. Many times this is happening because we don't have the tools to prioritize, to take what we just saw, to take what we just heard, and actually moved it into a pragmatic decision on what do we take forward. And a simple solution for that is the Impact Readiness Matrix. And it is a tool that is important to use in the right sequence. Often I see people use this tool, but not in the right sequence. So imagine that you just finished the session and you have tons of insights. And those insights are individual ideas that you got from a session like that. The first job is to sort them out according to impact, the maximum versus minimum impact. And that's what we normally do. We look at which idea was resonating with me the most, which idea grabbed me the most. And the first job is to sort out all the ideas that you had according to the potential impact, from the maximum to the minimum. And that's what often we do. But what we don't do enough is we don't do the second step, which is making sure that ideas are not only exciting in theory, they're implementable in practice. So after you sort them out according to impact, my invitation to you is to do the second round of sorting and now sort them according to how ready is my organization or my family, my own team, my career to implement that idea. And suddenly it turns out that the idea with the maximum impact Maybe we're not ready, organizationally not ready, financially not ready, maybe even the legislation is not ready. So once we start sorting out things according to the readiness, suddenly we figured out that some ideas have a higher chance of success than others because they're not only high impact, there's also high readiness in our organization. And we see our graduates use this tool. As you can see in the chat, MC is one of our certified reinvention practitioners and it's her favorite tool. Same for Bonita. Another graduate of ours is Laura Galiva, who lives in Dubai. She used to own 100 million revenue wholesale travel company, which she sold and started an organic healthcare and wellness business with cosmetics. And she actually used the impact readiness matrix you see on the wall right there to sort out ideas to grow her company. She would sort it with her team, leave it overnight from Friday to Monday, sort it another time, and suddenly the idea had clear alignment and the whole team knew what to prioritize and which ideas are just wishful thinking. So can I get a reaction from you? Do you promise to test out the impact readiness matrix in your life after this session? Those of you who say, yeah, it's a cool trick and I will try to use it after this session, give me a yes. Those of you who said they already tried it and you love this tool, give me a 2 in the chat. And if this is not something that you are interested in, give me a 3 in the chat. I see many 2s. I see some yeses and 1s. Congratulations. I'm happy we gave you one specific tool you can use immediately. And this is already the plus for me. It means you're leaving this session just a few minutes into the session with something super, super pragmatic. So with that, let's make sure we are targeting the session for your needs. There are many reasons people join sessions like that. Let me get to know who is in the group. So first reason, perhaps you are here because you're a professional in the corporate or nonprofit sector, and you're here because you wanted to protect your career and your organization, no matter what disruption is coming your way. Maybe you're here because you're a consultant, speaker, trainer, coach, and you want to be here because you're looking for new tools, you're looking for new insights, for something that will distinguish you. This is a very, very competitive field in consulting business. Over 900,000 consulting businesses in US alone, very competitive, and you're here because you want to be super unique. The third reason, that would be Andre. You are a business owner, investor outside of consulting, coaching field, and you are here because you're interested in trend and you want to safeguard your baby amidst turbulent times. And finally, perhaps you are a professional at the crossroads, looking for ways to reinvent yourself, your career, and find ways to grow with power, speed, and results. Let me know in the chat 1, 2, 3, or 4, and maybe some combinations. I see 2s, I see 4s, I see 2s, 2s, and 4s, some combination. Excellent to see all of you. Whatever is the reason, I am incredibly honored you're here. This helps me orient and notice how many of us are a combination now. This is what we call slash people. We become slash consultant slash corporate, corporate slash business owner slash consultant. Many of us are looking at multiple career tracks, and that is one of the strategies that allows us to be much more resilient in the middle of turbulence. No matter what your reason, I'm honored that you are here, and I'm here because I'm on a mission. I'm a recovering academic. My last academic role was the Coca-Cola chaired professor of strategy and sustainability. I spent many years since the start of my PhD in 2001, 22 years ago, researching why do some companies disrupt and lead the market and others are destroyed by even small turbulence? Why do some individuals do very well with turbulence and others are completely crushed? And I'm here to help you understand what's going on with the recent trends where most of us are currently feeling overwhelmed, fatigued and kind of disoriented. The Gallup poll last year showed the highest level of stress and fatigue it ever recorded, and it's not an accident. I grew my own consulting business specifically in the field of reinvention, speaking about it globally. We have, of course, another project of ours, which is our 19-year-old daughter, who is actually interested in joining our business. And I had the luxury of serving as an activist, working in the field of sustainability and resilience all over the world and doing projects all over the world to help our communities, not only our careers and our companies, to become more resilient. And the luxury of this work has been working with some of the most amazing corporations all over the world, and also doing it in partnership with some of the most amazing consulting and think tanks all over the world. So the data I'll share with you today also comes from our partners who do amazing research in the different industries. About 15 years ago, it's going to be 16 this summer, we started a consulting agency called We Exist Reinvention Agency, working with companies that are trying to survive in the middle of disruption. And increasingly more so, we are actually doing preventative work, building invincible corporations that are not easily disruptible and that are able not only to spot trends, but also create trends and turn them into opportunities. About 8 years ago, we were so overwhelmed. We had so many clients that we had to say no to most of them. And one of our clients said, well, if you cannot come and fix us, can you teach us? And that's how Reinvention Academy was born. Exactly 8 years ago in March, I delivered the keynote at TEDx Navisink. My TEDx talk on the speed of change is 8 years now. And we started this methodology called the Reinvention Method. Our job is to give resilience and reinvention skills to 1 billion people, because this century is the century of disruption. This century is the century of turbulence. And unless all of us are able to thrive in turbulence, this will be a very difficult century for humanity, especially for our kids. And our kid is pretty young. So most of our work is pro bono. We offer free training like this one. We publish free reports and run free organizations. And it's our students who finance all of this. So big shout out, all of you who are certified reinvention practitioners, certified reinvention associates, members of the Global Alliance. Can you please give in a chat your certification or your experience and say this is who you are, what class you graduated, because I want to celebrate you. I want to honor you and I want to thank you. Your enrollment, every time you enroll in the Reinvention Academy and the Global Alliance of Reinvention Professionals, you're contributing to this massive humanitarian mission, which is 1 billion people with resilience and reinvention skills. So big thanks to all of you in the chat. You are the reason we are still here, and you are the reason I wake up in the morning motivated and sometimes not super hopeful, but you push me and you give me greater hope and greater reason to keep going. Now, can you imagine what your life and your business would look like if reinvention was your superpower? Those of you who are just entering, can you give me a chance to get a sense what happens when reinvention becomes natural in a corporation? What happens when reinvention becomes as easy as brushing our teeth for individuals? Can you give me a sense of what experiences happen when reinvention is our superpower? What shows up in your life? What happens in organizations? And I'll mention a few things. I see incredible resilience growth among organizations that build reinvention capacity. And I wonder what you are noticing in your client organizations, in your environment. And while you're typing it up, for those of you who are wondering what we're going to do today, we are going to look at data that everyone needs to know to deal with uncertainty and disruption. We will also share with you immediate reinvention start you can do right now with near zero investment. I want to make sure that you see what reinvention hacks organizations such as HBO use. And of course, what is the most important secret of surviving and thriving change? And then at the end of a session, if you feel like you want to work with me and you want to work with the team at Reinvention Academy and harvest the power of Reinvention Method, we will also share with you how that can be done. And I'll stay for live Q&A at the end, as long as you need to stay. As long as you're here, I will stay. And of course, if you stay with me until the end, I will also share how to get an absolutely free seat at the Sell the Reinvention workshop. We hosted this workshop in the fall, not only for people who are consultants, coaches, trainers, and who do this outside for corporate clients, but mostly is also very important how to sell reinvention internally. When your bosses don't want to change, when your team doesn't want to change, when your employees don't want to change, when your partners and suppliers don't want to change, how do you sell reinvention to them? So I'm happy to share what would be the access, what would be the easy way to get your free hands on this workshop at the end of the session as well. If you're leaving us early, there's one idea I want to leave you with. If you don't get anything from this trend report and you forget all of it, there's one thing I want you to remember. Pretty much everything I have to say is on this slide. And if you deeply understand it, you will be able to reinvent yourself and your organization. That is very simply put, in today's volatile world, extreme speed, future-proofing and safeguarding organization is not a one-time project. This is it. Change is not a project. Reinvention is not something you do once in a blue moon. In today's volatile and uncertain world, the only way not only to survive turbulence, but thrive in it is to build a system of embracing change and turning it into your competitive advantage before anyone else is able to notice the trends and turn them into advantage. And that system is what I call reinvention. So if you're here because you think reinvention is one thing you do and then life will go back to normal and you will sit in peace and quiet, I'm sorry to break that myth for you. In today's volatility, anything you do today will be irrelevant tomorrow. So this is not about a one-time victory. It's about building a system that generates one renewal after another, one reinvention after another in a predictable, high impact, high result way. That is the system that we call reinvention. So the first trend I want to share with you today with data to back it is simply put, you do not have time. You don't have time. And any idea that corporations have that we will wait and see, and individuals that have that, you know, this turbulence, it's going to settle down and things will go back to normal. I hate to break it to you, but there's absolutely no scientific evidence that suggests that any of this turbulence is going back to normal and we are going to slow down anytime soon. And most corporations still don't understand that. That's why from the original Fortune 500 list, 88% of all companies have already disappeared. They either went bankrupt or were acquired. But when we look forward, most companies still don't understand that the turbulence they experience is not temporary, and the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank is just one of many collapses that will be happening again and again. The prediction is that by 2027, 50% of all Standard & Poor's 500 companies will be off the list in just about 4 years. And if in the past you could reach the peak of the industry and stay at the peak of the industry for at least 5 years, that was 77% of companies. The moment you're in the peak, you're guaranteed a spot. It's no longer the case. Now you reach the peak, you're there for a year or two, and you start the decline. Nobody is guaranteed anything. There is nobody in the world anymore who is unsinkable, untouchable, or unbreakable. This idea that I can sit quietly and be comfortable is gone. And that is unfortunately not fully transforming into our skill set. In the world of turbulence and disruption that we experienced in the last couple of decades, especially accelerated after the 2008 global recession. Guys, it's been 15 years since the last global recession, and we still pretend as if things are just about to go to normal. They will not. But we are not getting better. We have this data since 90s. In Harvard Business School did this research in the 90s and showed that 70% of all transformation were failing. Then McKinsey did it in 2010, 70% of all transformation failing. And then about 2020, 2019, Boston Consulting Group did this research again, and we just got worse. 75% of all transformation fail. And finally, it's catching on. The idea that our approach to change management is failing and we are getting worse at transformation and reinvention is finally catching on, because PricewaterhouseCoopers just released its annual CEO survey. Over 4,000 CEOs participated. Just this year was released, and finally CEOs are waking up to the fact that they are not spending enough time reinventing their business, that they need to prioritize it in their calendar, and that this is the number one priority they need to push forward. The entire report is report on reinvention. The title, the subtitle, everything is about reinvention. This is what we were predicting about 8 years ago. 8 years ago, the keynote, the TEDx talk I did at TEDx Navysink in New Jersey was about the fact that every company will have to prioritize reinvention. Finally, 8 years later, they're waking up to the fact that they're collapsing, that their employees are collapsing, and that unless reinvention becomes the CEO agenda, their company will not survive. But are you catching on with this data? Let's do a little short thought experiment. If you know this experiment, don't give it out. Don't give the actual data. Don't give the full answers, but I want you to check your gut reaction, how good you are with the speed of change, how honest you are, and how aware you are about the speed of change that is required in your own life and in your own career. So imagine that all of us are managers in a property management company in a massive city. We own real estate, commercial and residential, and we rent it out all over the city. And we are all responsible for filling up that real estate and making sure it's fully rented. And we have a capacity, let's say about 90% of all of our properties are normally rented out. But then something is beginning to happen. There is a recession coming in. At what percent will you start calling that the trend has started? At what percent, when you are no longer able to rent out the space, will you call an emergency meeting and say, hey guys, there is a trend? Roland says at 10%, 15%. So it's minus 10, minus 15, minus 20. Isabella says at 20. Stas says at 15. Doman says at 10. MC says at 10. Write down your number. If you're not ready to put it in the chat, put it for yourself. Write down that number. We will need it in a few minutes. This will be something that will be checking for you, that will be a gut check for you. That is so, so important. Steve says 5%, Rosalind says 5%, Pamela says 10%. Write down that number, remember that number, and now let me get to the second part of this thought experiment. This is completely hypothetical. The smallest bacteria, the actual technically, this is a fact, the smallest bacteria that we know of at this point is that small that 1 liter of bacteria fits into, that many bacteria fits into 1 liter. I don't even know how to read that number. Now, hypothetically, imagine that this bacteria starts reproducing by doubling every minute, which means it's 1 bacteria right now, 2 bacteria in a minute, 4 bacteria in a minute, 8 bacteria in a minute, 16 bacteria in a minute. At what period of time, how long would it take for this bacteria to fill the entire Pacific Ocean and kill everything in the Pacific Ocean, including itself? This is not a mathematical assignment. This is a gut reaction. I'm checking your awareness of the speed of change. Andre says 30 days. Give me another guess. How long will it take it? 24 hours, 15 something. Cindy, 15 what? Less than a day, 3 days, 15 minutes, 24 hours, 30 days. Doman, give me a number. I'm not checking your math skills. I am checking your gut expectation, your internal mindset when it comes to speed of change. Because we grew up in a particular reality where change was slow, we have a mindset that is limiting our capacity to thrive in turbulence. Natalia says 7 days, Isabella 7 days, somebody else says 7 days. Doman says 10 hours. Doman, you are exceptionally optimistic. The actual number, if we are very conservative with a limit of how big is the Pacific Ocean, is 119 minutes, but that's not what's important. Notice how many of you thought you had more time than that. And most of the technological disruptions we're experiencing and social disruption are beginning to follow the exponential curve law. But much more important is not the fact that it's less than 2 hours. And most of us think that we have much more time, days, if not months. The much more shocking reality is that only 1 minute before the entire ocean is dead, half of the ocean is empty. So you are sitting on the half side of the ocean, and your clients on another half of the ocean, and you're telling your clients it's a trend, and your clients are saying, are you crazy? The ocean is blue and empty. You are fake news. You are panicking for no reason. 2 minutes before death, 75% of the ocean is completely clean and empty. And 3 minutes before death, only 12% of the ocean is filled with bacteria. Most of the ocean is absolutely empty. 4 minutes before death is 6%. 5 minutes before death is 3%, and 6 minutes before death is just over 1.5%. Now, remember the numbers you wrote down on a piece of paper on what is the trend that you should be watching. Those of you who are at 10 or 15 or 20%, this means if you're noticing a trend at 10%, it's too late. At that point, with the speed of change we're experiencing right now, by the time you will notice a trend at 10%, it's already gone. You already way too late to adjust, to adapt, to prepare, to reinvent. We live in a speed of change where we need to notice a trend at 0.0000001% or more, and we are not equipped to do so. We are not trained to anticipate change. We don't pay attention. We don't invest time, and we are always hit too late to reinvent. So how do we start noticing trends before they become dangerous to us? Here's an example of Lego. Lego notices trends without a need for massive team. They use their clients to notice trends. And you know that Lego is the most valuable toy brand in the world, and they've been holding this position for many, many years. And almost 1 million adults, their clients, their customers, not children, adults, are part of their Lego Ideas online community that comes up with new products for Lego. That's how Lego notices trends. It creates a community where their own customers are voting on new trends, and there is an algorithm that floats up the most interesting ideas and the most anticipated trends in Lego making. And they don't pay their employees. They are engaging their customers absolutely free. And by the way, you can do the same. With every client we ever participated, we actually created a similar experience absolutely free. How do you do that? You bring a practice of engaging a local college, university, or high school. Do you all work nearby a high school, a college, or university? Can you give me a plus in the comments if you have a community college, if you have a university nearby, or a high school? All of you have a plus in the chat. What we do is we find a professor or a teacher who is ready to include a trend watching report as a part of their semester curriculum. So your company gets a high quality report every single semester, absolutely free, by simply engaging a local community or college. And you are able to get youth energy and their attention without any investments whatsoever. All that is required is to participate, to find a local professor, and to spend some time listening to those youngsters who are presenting to you. And the most important, of course, thing is that you're also creating a great brand and reputation among potential employees in the future. It's becoming so hard to attract the youngsters, and they don't have enough opportunities to learn with you and to practice with the real business. So it takes zero cost to find a local college that will do a trend report for you. It's a benefit for the students because they're working on something real and tangible, and it's a benefit for your company because you will notice the trends before those trends become dangerous. So how good are you at this? Let me share a few examples of our community. Jim Merhart was one of our regional certified reinvention practitioners, and we teach the skills of anticipating change as a part of our Titanic syndrome diagnostic tool. Is one of the things that diagnostic tool tests is how good is your organization with anticipating change. But Jim wanted to adapt this tool to churches because he was working specifically with the issue of declining participation in American churches. So he took the same tool we teach in corporation, the Titanic syndrome tool, that is all about learning how do you anticipate change, design change, and implement change super quickly. And he adapted it for churches, and it was so successful that he then continued to adapt it to a manufacturing environment, because the Rust Belt here in the US, the old manufacturing companies are collapsing, and Jim was able to use the same tool to serve his first manufacturing client. A completely different story is Heidi Antezana, who uses the same tool that teaches anticipation of change techniques to land her first massive reinvention consulting project with a single Titanic story. She actually shared it on one of our live sessions, and we'll provide a link for you for Heidi's story. And it was just this one ability, anticipating change, that allowed Heidi to create this massive contract for a casino and train the entire employee group of casinos in adapting to change, noticing the trends, and implementing change on time. So trend number one, you do not have time. Your clients do not have time, whether they're in a corporate, nonprofit, or public sector. The speed of change is such that today, anticipating change becomes a crucial skill. So let me ask you, how good are you, your company, or your clients at anticipating change today? If you are excellent, give me a 1 in the chat. If you're good but could be better, give me a 2 in the chat. And if you only see threat when it hits you, give me a 3 in the chat. I see some of you are in 2s. I know some of you are becoming better. Chris is joining the Certified Reinvention Practitioner program in March in 2 weeks. So I'm happy to see you getting stronger. There's 2s. Many of you are in 3s. Those of you who are in 2s and 3s, my invitation is to start developing the skills of anticipating change and building the toolkit that allows you to notice trends before they hit everyone else in your industry and in your environment. Trend number 2, crucial trend, crucial myth that we have to break, which is this idea that we don't need to fix things if they're not broken. That all we need to do is to do the things very, very well, wait until they are not performing, and then reinvent. This is all about when do we reinvent? And it's again goes back to data. So all of us go through a life cycle. Every career goes through a life cycle. Every business goes through a life cycle. Every product, every brand, every process goes through a life cycle. It starts well. If it grows and reaches maturity, it performs at the peak. But if we don't reinvent, it goes into the decline. And we know what we need to do to avoid the decline. We need to start the new growth curve and a new growth curve and a new growth curve indefinitely. This is what is called in classic strategy theory S-curves. If you're searching for strategy background research on this, Google S-curves. We know reinvention is crucial, but why so many companies are dying? I just showed to you how many companies are disappearing, that the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank is not a big deal because you anticipate that most companies were not able to reinvent. Why? Because they don't understand a simple insight that was shared in a wonderful book called Stall Points. It was also widely publicized in Harvard Business Review and other business press. And what does this research show? This research shows that if you start reinventing on the decline, so you start the new cycle on the decline, the chances of you of reaching up to your own peak experience are only 10%. If you start reinventing on the decline, the budgets are already short, the fear is already running wild, the political will is not there to make tough decisions. You need to start reinventing before you reach the decline. But what happens with that situation? Number one, we face resistance. If we start reinventing before we reach the peak, what will your employees say? What will your clients say? You come to your client organization, you come to your own team, or you come to your boss. Yeah, you come to them and say, hey, time to reinvent. What will they say? Catherine says, you're crazy. We are doing great. Why would we reinvent right now? And Anna Maria says, indeed, resistance is a major challenge. Not enough proof that things work bad. Absolutely. So most companies die because they start reinventing too late. They live in the mindset that we still have time. And where is that mindset coming from? It comes from the reality of where we lived in the last 200 years. So modern capitalism is relatively fresh. And for about 200 years and most of 20th century, the average life cycle of business was 75 years. From the beginning of a startup to the end through bankruptcy or acquisition, the business model could stay the same for 75 years. I could do exact same thing again and again for 75 years without facing one reinvention. This is where we were for most of 20th century. And this is also where most of our mindset comes from. This is most of where our management tools come from. Can you name me a management tool that comes from this era, including classic strategic planning, including just-in-time management? Most of management practices and most of educational experiences come from this era. Bonita is absolutely right. Waterfall project management comes from this era. Catherine is absolutely right. Yearly budgeting comes from this era. Good old project management, Gordon is right, comes from this era. We lived in the era of very long, predictable life cycles for our products, processes, and business models. And we pretend that is still the reality. Unfortunately, however, or fortunately, facts are friendly. This is just a fact of life. In the late 1980s, early 1990s, those cycles shrunk from 75 on average to about 15 on average. Suddenly, we didn't have 30, 40, 50 years to reinvent. We only have about half of the cycle, right? We cannot reinvent on the second half of the cycle. We need to reinvent on the first. So suddenly we didn't have 40 years to reinvent, we had 7, and that cycle is shrinking even more. So what is your guess? What is the average median life cycle of a business model today? Give me in the chat, what do you think is that number right now in 2023? What was, it was 75, it was 15. What do you think is a median right now? What would be your guess as the median? I see 6, I see other numbers. I see 2, 3, I see 5, I see 1, 2, I see 9, I see 2. All of you are absolutely correct. Our 2023 research is actually showing very interesting numbers. So 2018, 2020, 2022, we've been doing this research every 2 years. Notice the world is now separating into 2 different groups. Almost 21%, every 5th company in the world right now reinventing every year or less if they want to survive and thrive in turbulence. But we also see some groups that are now taking longer time. So the world is separating into 2 groups, winners and losers. Either you know how to do this very quickly because you built a system, not a one-time accidental victory, but a system of continuous reinvention. Or you try to reinvent once, you put all eggs in one basket, you are exhausted and overwhelmed, and therefore you are slowing down the speed of change and collapsing. And unfortunately, if you look at the effects, the actual results of reinvention between 20 and 2022, we're seeing significant loss in terms of effectiveness, in terms of results. If you look at the 2022, 65%, 64.9 were effective when it comes to reinvention, and were ineffective. 64 were ineffective, and that number grew by 10%. Now 74% of companies are reporting they're not effective when it comes to reinvention. At the same time, we see that there are amazing innovation and reinvention happening when it comes to tools. For example, HBO. This is an exercise we teach at the Global Alliance of Reinvention Professional. We teach in all of our Reinvention Academy toolkits. Kill the company exercise is a simple, easy way to deal with the resistance to change, to deal with a mindset shift when you are creating a rapid movement in the organization. And it works like this. You bring a diverse group of employees, you give them an assignment in small groups to come up with the best way to destroy the business in the fastest possible way. And in a short while, the entire group of employees realize that their company is much more fragile and much easier to destroy than they thought. And the second part of that exercise is actually generating a wave of reinvention to prevent the collapse from happening. And it's been so successful for HBO that is now used in public sector as well. There is a city council in Texas that is looking at how to use the same exercise to protect their community. And we see that happening in our graduate group as well. This is Metka Glass, and she used the same exercise to reinvent her company, running virtual reinvention breakfasts and physical face-to-face reinvention breakfasts for rapid, continuous reinvention using toolkits such as Kill the Company exercise. Greg was another one of our graduates who used the same toolkit to bring a quick turnaround in his organization, and then of course to scale up. And he is the first one to speak about the return on investment of his certified reinvention practitioner program because of the continuous results it brings. So how many of you have broken things in your business and in your career before they stopped working for you? This idea that you cannot wait until things break. Give me a yes. Give me a 1 if you have already. Give me a no if you have not done it. Give me, I see some, Pamela says, yes, I have. I'm glad to hear that, Pamela. Many of you are ones. Some of you are no's. My invitation for you to start thinking about reinventing before you hit the peak, because research is very clear. If you don't break your business before you reach the peak, the chances of you recovering are very, very slim. And it's about creating a system of continuous reinvention rather than a one-time event. And that is the most important part of trend number 2. Forget if it's not broken, don't fix it. We have to break our careers, our practices, our tools, our products before our competitors will, before COVID will, before ChatGPT will, before regulators will, before some external threat does that for us. And final trend before we leave, this is not about the what. This is not about the what. What do I mean here? Well, every time I see this in the community, that we treat each disruption as a unique event. If it's a COVID, let's do COVID massive brainstorming. If it's digital, oh my God, we need to do digital transformation. If it's nonprofit or philanthropic or ESG sustainability, oh my God, this is emergency matters. If it's a personal reinvention, oh my God, we need to find a magic pill. Every single time we pretend that the what makes the reinvention unique. And every time we start a new reinvention process from scratch, as if we never done it before. Each wave of transformation leaves us exhausted and overwhelmed until it's time to face a new one. And the reality is, no matter what particular challenge or disruption, new technology, new competitor, new career challenge, new boss, new regulator, new social disruption, economic crisis, inflation, it really doesn't matter what challenge you face. The challenge can be solved with the exact same set of tools. Just like a skilled musician can play different type of music on a good piano, whether it's rock or folk or rap, the same way a good reinvention practitioner can face any kind of reinvention challenge using the same set of tools. It's not an algorithm. You do this and then you do that. It's more like the set of reinvention tools is a massive all-inclusive buffet. There's meats and there are desserts and there are fruits and there's salads. And a good reinvention practitioner knows how to combine each ingredient into unique custom-made plate that is fit for specific situation. And it's that is what I mean, that it's not about the what. No matter what particular challenge your company is facing, it can be solved by exact same set of tools combined in a new and unique combination. And I was really touched to see that when Coursera was reporting on the fastest growing human skills in 2023, most of the skills on the right are reinvention skills, including storytelling, change management, organizational development, people management, culture, decision-making, planning. This is what we've been doing with Reinvention Academy, because Reinvention Method is not about choosing strategy versus change management. It's about marrying the two. It's about creating a platform that connects anticipating change, which would be strategy, forecasting, economics, foresight, with designing change, which would be creativity, innovation, design thinking, and so on, and combining it with things such as change management, communication, culture change. All of them need to work in unison, in harmony. And that is what we're here to do, to zip up and create a new management field as a union, as a combination, as a marriage between all the separated skill sets that most of the time are competing inside organizations. An example of how that can be done is something that we built with Nauf Insulation, inspired by Danfoss Strata, where exact same toolkit run in 24 hours can generate completely different results. First, it was about new, how you call patents, new patents. Can we generate new ideas that get patents in a much faster way that we used to get before. And now it's same 24 hours reinvention workshop that generates ideas on product improvement, HR process improvement, legal process improvement, operational improvements. It doesn't matter what is the content. You can use exact same tool set to reinvent in every possible field and do it with power, speed, and results. I've seen the same impact in small business. This is Windsor Lewis, who I met on Twitter. And he said, Nadya, our first interaction on tweet, I tweeted, illiteracy is no longer the inability to read. Now it's an ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And Windsor was able to use reinvention tools to build a series of new small businesses and expand his own small business portfolio so that he's more resilient in change. Same in the corporate environment, one of our newest certified reinvention practitioners, Greg Yeroman, who was able to use reinvention tools in IT field where he is a program lead, and same for consultants, coaches, and trainers. That would be Ina Kukovic-Barovnik, who is working with the same tools to run reinvention workshops in her consulting business. So would you like me to teach you how to future-proof your organization and career through reinvention? Is that something that excites you? Is it something that gives you energy? And Sherry says, yes, it's not for everyone. I have to tell you immediately, our programs and our tools are not for everyone, but there are people in this community for whom this is absolutely perfect. And if you feel like these ideas are exciting you, that these ideas are giving you energy, that this experiences and this data is validating what you see in your life and work, I want you to lean in. I want you to listen up, because I want to spend a couple of minutes sharing how you can work with us and learn the same toolkit. I know you're very busy, but you still showed up. You are incredibly busy, and on Monday afternoon or morning, wherever you are, you showed up for a specific reason. Maybe you're here because you're frustrated. You know that disruptions are coming. You know that things are going to disrupt your own career, your organization, or that of your clients, and you are trying to engage others only to face fear, resistance, and fatigue. You want more influence, you want stronger personal brand, and you show up because maybe you want a new stream of income. Or perhaps you're here because you want to get momentum. You've been to many of our previous labs, you've been to our previous sessions, you read our books, you tried our tools, you know that they have potential. You're ready to make reinvention part of your life and work, your career, or your consulting coaching offer, but you're just not sure where to start. Or maybe you are here because you're looking for clarity. You are tired of paralyzing corporate politics, and we actually now have sessions on how to navigate corporate politics. You are not clear how to deal with new customer demands, time-sucking short-term KPIs, never-ending resistance from your own team, your bosses, or your clients, and you just want clarity on what exactly reinvention is and how can you monetize on it. Maybe you're here because you crave community. You felt pulled to this experience because you like the kind of people you see in the chat. You like the kind of data I show on screen. You like the kind of interaction you've seen in our global community. You want to be supported, and currently you want to become an expert in reinventing process, products, business models, but you just feel alone and unsupported in your environment. Or maybe you're here like me, you just want more. That would be me. I always want more. I want it all. I want impact. I want income. I want influence. I want to prove that meaningful work can be exceptionally successful, that we don't need to choose between meaning and purpose in our life, an exceptional success, that the two can combine and we can do meaningful work that is also incredibly rewarding and brings influence and income in addition to impact. Whatever is the reason, the way I see it, you have one of two options. One is to keep going with the way you were going before. And I'm sure for many of you, that is a valid option. Or I am biased here, I'm not neutral at all. You can choose to make 2023 your reinvention year. And I want you, of course, to jump in and take reinvention and make it your own superpower. And if that excites you, it's my great honor to invite you to join us for the Certified Reinvention Practitioner Program. This program, aside from my daughter, is probably the most important thing I have ever created in my life. And when I see hundreds of certified reinvention practitioners all over the world making tremendous difference, changing lives of corporations, creating a kind of sense of peace in the middle of the most remarkable storms, I feel like this was not for nothing. We have people working in some of the most difficult environments, such as South Africa, where unemployment rate is higher than almost anywhere in the world. Such industries that are going through a massive shakeup, including banking, including tech, including manufacturing, and turning disruption into opportunity. And this is the program that helps you happen because it combines theory with practice and gives you everything you can possibly need to build your own reinvention career, whether you're in the corporate sector, whether you're in consulting coaching, or you are in small business outside of consulting and coaching, and you want to build an invincible small business for yourself and your family. An important thing that this is the first program that we know of that connects a whole bunch of industries that traditionally don't talk to each other. This is not just change management. This is not just innovation. This is not just strategy. This is all of the key elements StreamYard together into a unified front that works as a well-oiled machine. We combine theory and practice. So what you get is a live sessions. These are 7 90-minute Zoom sessions with homework you do alone or in a small group in between each live session. So it is quite intense. And in addition to the live 7-week sessions, you also get pre-recorded video course called Breakthrough Reinvention. You actually, when you enroll today, you get that course immediately and you can test it out and start using the tools immediately. And I know some of you not only started using the tools you learned at the lab and then Breakthrough Reinvention course, you actually already signed new contracts with them. And I'm congratulating you as you're already getting the return on investment. So there is live training, there's home assignments. And by the end of those 7 live sessions, you get an extremely clear picture of reinvention and the strategy in the age of volatility. You discover all of our proprietary tools that comprise the reinvention method, plus additional tools that we use, including biomimicry, including the standard strategy tools that are most adaptive for the volatile world. You also learn how to design custom-made reinvention solutions. In the volatile world we live, it's not off the shelf. It's not going by the checklist. It's creating something custom-made, and we teach you how to do that. You, of course, figure out how to combine your tools with the reinvention method tools. All of you are already highly educated. You already have other certifications. Most of our graduates have, of course, certifications. Some have masters and even PhDs. And our job is to show you how to combine your existing education with the reinvention method. This is not a competition. This is making all of the disciplines stronger by working together. And you also, of course, create deep connections with other reinventors. We have many people in the reinvention community that bid on projects together, that create partnerships together, that do corporate work together, because the community is so filled with support. And you see them in the chat. We have a bit of a sect going on. We joke sometimes, but we look like we are really into this because we do work together quite well. So if you are looking at just the education, the 7 modules will help you turn resistance into buy-in and give you tools on how to mobilize the team or mobilize your client organization. They also are all about bringing quick wins and results. And also, our job is to make sure that as a result of this program, you build your personal brand, whether you are inside corporation or you're a consultant, coach, trainer, or business owner. We want to make sure that reinvention makes your personal brand stronger, and we give you exercises for that as well. And for us, our job is to set you up for life. So we make sure that this is a toolkit you can use again and again all of your life. And if we were just to finish with 7 live sessions, that's it. If we done nothing else, if we were just doing these 7 sessions, that alone, looking at the market value, that alone would be valued at $4,500. But we don't leave you here. There's so much more that we want to give you to make sure you're successful, because your 7 live sessions are only the beginning. In addition to 7 live sessions, you also do an individual project. The individual project is a practice run. This is for you to put all that theory into practice and reinvent something in your own career, in your organization, in your consulting, coaching, business environment. And here, in addition to the individual project, you also get access to a private community where we provide daily support. And your program finishes with an amazing gift: 1 hour full focus on you, one-on-one coaching and consulting session. We had people come into their 1 hour coaching and consulting session, and in that 1 hour, completely revamping their career. We had a person last year, Charles McDonald, who at that session got an idea that landed him a massive contract with a military organization in his country, in UK, because our whole community rallies and you are the center of attention, and you get that 1 hour full-on consultation where our best ideas are serving your needs. And very important, most certification ask you to come and pay an annual fee, or they ask you and come recertified every year. We do provide annual support for you to get updates. We provide alumni events every year. We provide an update session, a mini virtual summit where all alumni get the latest data and the newest tools, but they're free. Our belief is that if we want to get to 1 billion people, you need to be equipped and you need to have a free license for life. So everything you learn with us, it's a free license to use with a proper sourcing, of course, but it's a free license to use for life. And we give you the updated alumni events absolutely free. So you get the 7 modules for what, why, how, and so what of reinvention, together with the videos and PDFs for lifetime access. You get the individual reinvention project where you put all that theory into practice and actually have first results by the end of the program. And that is just the beginning. And I always remind people, hey guys, I'm nobody. I'm not a particularly special person. I'm a girl from a third world country. So if I can do all of this without special exclusive access or some sort of connections, there's no questions that you can do this as well. So in addition to the actual 7 live sessions, the bonus reinvention project, the 1 hour one-on-one coaching session, we also want to make sure that you get a professional community and a free license for life. One more special opportunity are the bonuses that expire tomorrow. So when you enroll by the end of the day tomorrow, you get a free seat at the How to Sell the Reinvention workshop. This is the workshop that is divided into two parts. The first part, I cover how do you sell reinvention internally. This is resistance to change work. We look at the tools in the law of diffusion of innovation. We give you the tools that help you understand how to deal with resistance internally, whether you're selling reinvention to your boss, to your team, to your employees, or that of your clients. And the second part of the workshop is for those who want to sell reinvention externally as a consulting, coaching, training offer. And that is two parts of this workshop that you get as a special bonus. And in addition to the How to Sell Reinvention workshop, another bonus that you get is a free 3 months membership in the Global Alliance of Reinvention Professionals. This is an incredible professional community. It provides support weekly. You get weekly sessions in forms of deep dives, masterminds across a whole bunch of topics. The community votes on what would be the most important topic. And all of this is a bonus session you get when you enroll by the end of the day tomorrow. This early bird bonus package disappears tomorrow at 8 p.m. US Eastern. And of course, as I said, I'm 100% biased, so I want you to get it. And I invite you to enroll now. So when you enroll, you get the 7 sessions, the individual reinvention project, the one-on-one coaching sessions, the private community, the lifetime license to use everything, and the limited time bonuses that expire tomorrow. All of this comes to the total value of $14,281. But of course, I'm not going to make you pay $14,281. And when I look around my fellow executive education institutions and I ask my faculty members what it costs to get certified in their programs, and there are many amazing certification programs on the market, and I love so many of them. I actually invest in at least $20,000 a year in some course myself. So I absolutely do look around the market. And when I ask my community, what should we charge for this package? They all said that it should be somewhere around $9,000 to $10,000. But we are on a mission. We want to make sure this is available to as many people as possible. And that's why we're not going to charge $9,500 either. What it costs to enroll in the Certified Reinvention Practitioner program right now is $5,300 for everything I mentioned on the previous page. So we also want to make sure that it's available for you to enroll with installments. So there's an opportunity to enroll with 6 monthly installments. And when you enroll today, you get to our homepage, you get all the details, the tools, the actual schedule. You can read through all the details. You will see the options for the monthly payments or the one-time payment. You see the checkout page. It's secured by 2 options, the Stripe or the PayPal. In both cases, we don't get your credit card information. It's completely guaranteed and safe and secure. You get the confirmation email immediately. And today, when you enroll today, you immediately jump on and get pre-recorded material so you can get the started process immediately. Why this is important? Because we have 14 days, no questions asked, money back guarantee, which means you can enroll today, try it out, and if it doesn't resonate, if it's not feeling right, you can get all your money back immediately within the 14 days of enrollment. And you can test it all out right now, enrolling and looking at the materials, testing the homework, testing the worksheets, testing the tools, seeing what you can do with them immediately. And I'm very honored that our alumni show up again and again. I know MC is here. I know Sherry is here. This is our alumni who keep reminding us why this is such an important work and why this investment is worth it, because we have one of the most remarkable high impact community that is able to return the investment extremely fast, but also that is very heartfelt, that is heart-centered, that provides a lot of support for each other, that feels like home. So I do invite you to check it out now. We have an opportunity to grab those amazing bonuses now. And we also invite you, if you are on the fence, if you are not sure, we invite you to connect and schedule a consult call with Sherry Sutton. So if you schedule a consult call now, we will still honor all of the bonus options, even if the availability is not there. And you can only have that call at the end of a week or early next week. We'll make sure that all of the bonuses are provided for anyone who scheduled before the deadline on the bonuses expires. We would love to see you in the program. This is a chance to ask the questions. This is a chance to test out. I see Chris, who is enrolled in March 2023. So it's a program that starts in 2 weeks. And he says, I've tested it. I don't need my money back. I see you are the CRP course at the end of the month, Nadya. I love that. And MC is here, and she was our graduate. As you can see, you need to jump off. The CRP program is very valuable, highly recommended. So I do invite you to schedule a phone call for a personal consult. Would be happy to see if this is the right thing for you. And it's not for everyone, absolutely. But I also want to mention we have other options available with a low intensity across the board. So it's low intensity in terms of time investment, low intensity in terms of financial investment. So if you are not sure, I invite you to schedule a call and see what might be the right fit for you, because I would rather for you to have an extremely calm and clear path towards building your reinvention practice rather than feeling stressed about it. This should not be stressful. So schedule a call, see if you're a right fit. Sherry is very good at saying this is not the right fit. Come back, grab a book, come to another lab, and she would be the best to offer. So there should be a link in the chat for Sherry's consultations, and I highly recommend you schedule them. The last link in the chat would be a way to do it. Guys, we're 15 minutes over. Any questions? You're still here. That means you maybe either you have questions or you have reactions, or there's some other reason you are here. So tell me why you're here. If you have questions, put them in the chat. I would love to answer them. If you have questions about those trend reports, give me a question in the chat. I would love to answer another minute or so. Let's see if this is the right for you. If you are here, it means something is holding you here. If you already have a consult booked, great. I'll see you at the sessions. If you will have a consult booked with me, if few of you had that exclusive right on Saturday, happy to see you. Gordon is excited. So Roland, can you give us a few examples regarding the trend report? Roland, what would be examples you're looking for? Company reinventions, examples of what kind? Thank you so much. I have to run, says Yelena. Love to see you here, Lena. I hope the report was relevant for you and the data is there. And Adela says what you don't speak about is FOMO. I assume FOMO is fear of missing out. Some of us keep coming back because we know there is value in new use cases and new application. Every single lab. The CRP program is a must if you're needing to set yourself apart from consultant trainers and coaches, regardless of what industry. Thank you, Adele. Adele, of course, is our graduate. You will see that most people come to lab after lab because we do provide something new every single one. So absolutely love seeing that feedback from you as well. Roland, let me know what kind of examples we're looking for. So in our research, we actually look at 9 different types of reinventions, looking at everything from small incremental change, that would be change in processes, as small as changing the way meetings are run or the way sales are done, all the way to massive radical industry changing reinventions. That would be like electric car, for example. Everything that is happening in the mobility right now would be the radical ecosystem reinvention. We follow 9 types of reinvention because we believe that the healthiest approach is a portfolio approach, that you cannot bet on one type of reinvention, that you need to have a portfolio where you're reinventing products, you're reinventing processes, you're reinventing organizational structures, and all of them are happening so that your company can stay relevant in today's disruptions. Roland says, I was wondering how AI factors, and AI is just one of the factors. I know everyone is obsessed about AI right now. We've been predicting the disruption around AI since 2013. The first time I wrote about automation and AI and its impact on the workforce was 2013. The reports on reinvention started coming out as a normal part of CEO experience. My first one was 2015. We are seeing 10 years of warning signs that business completely ignored, that most people in their careers completely ignored. And now everyone is surprised and obsessed over artificial intelligence. It was in every report in 2013, 14, and 15, because it was very clear that this is exactly where the transformation is going. So what is there to say about artificial intelligence? It will be a source of automation for a massive number of industries. It will not replace all. It will just change the way we do, the way electricity changed the way we do things. Did electricity kill the horse buggy business? Yes, it did. Does it mean that the entire economy collapsed? No, it does not. It means that if you realize the opportunity of the new technology, you will be the one to monetize it. If you don't, if you resist it, if you are upset over it, if you are crying over it, just like the horse buggy business was upset and angry about automotive sector and electricity and steam, it will be the one to destroy you. So in that sense, artificial intelligence is just one of massive number of trends. Next trend is monetary system collapse. We're expecting complete reinvention of what we call money in the next 10 years because the current monetary system is unsustainable. And the current approach to money as different functions in society, originally as a means of exchange, now it's its own product and it's not a sustainable product. The entire monetary system will be changed in the next 10 years, and what we call money today will be completely different. So we are looking at tons of trends, and AI is just one tiny trend in a massive map of trends. I invite you to look at a number of trend reports. There are consumer trend reports, trendwatching.com. There is humanitarian and humanity existential trend report by World Economic Forum published in January. Just Google WEF Top 30 2023 report. There is skill reports that Coursera, LinkedIn, and such put out. There is a Pricewaterhouse CEO report that I shared today. The map of trends is much greater than any one trend. So what I want to leave you with as the greatest takeaway from this session, it doesn't matter which trend it is. If it's not artificial intelligence, it will be a new regulation. If it's not new regulation, it's a new approach to currency when we move from the traditional currency to alternative idea of currency. If it's not the approach to currency, it will be new competitor. If it's not new competitor, it will be new generation with the new generational preferences. If it's not that, it will be climate change. It doesn't matter what disruption it is. Our job is not to be there hoping we will notice the new trend. Our job is having such an automated, well-oiled, exceptionally efficient reaction to any disruption, that while others are disoriented by the trend, we are already capitalizing on it. That's the job. The idea that we can predict and watch every single trend is completely utopian. It's not that we need to notice every single trend. Is that we need to have such a well-oiled reinvention machine that we notice the trend earlier than others, and we have absolutely automated response on how we're going to turn that trend into opportunity. And that's what we're building. We're building systems of continuous proactive renewal that turn disruptions into opportunity. And that would be the most important message I hope I will leave you with. If you're here hoping you will notice one trend and it will be the all-encompassing protection, you are gonna be disappointed. The amount of trends that are disrupting the world right now is in such a number that the idea that we can spot them and notice them before everyone else is alone, that this one trend will be what will protect it, is not realistic. We need to build a business of anticipating change. But even more importantly, we need to have such an automated reaction, such a skill developed, such a tool and machine prepared in our organization that we are always ahead of the game. And while others are all upset and disoriented, we're already up and running, building a new version of ourselves and creating opportunity for those who depend on us in the process. I'm excited to see you all here. We're 22 minutes over the hour. Thank you for joining me. This is the official end of the Easy Reinvention Lab, the last bonus session. Those of you who are interested in learning more about our program, sign up for the consult. And everyone who joined us, thank you so much for the experiences you are sharing, for the insights you are sharing, the feedback you're giving us. And I am honored that you decided to join us for this trend session as well. Have an amazing, amazing rest of the week, and we will be in touch. Bye, everyone.